Greetings, guys. It's Thin Journey, a blast from the past. For some of you, if you haven't seen me in a long time, it's because I haven't done any videos in a long time. But I realized that today, that I haven't done a video. You know, once you get past the initial surgery and months of recovery and then months and months and months of weight loss, you kind of forget about it. You know, it just becomes a part of life. It becomes a part of how you get up every day and what you do. I know a lot of people are still interested, and you know, the same types of questions apply for new folks who stumble across my videos. How much can you eat? Can you eat? You know, what can you eat, and so on and so forth. And you know, here I am. I had my surgery in November of 2008, so it's been a few years since I had the surgery. And, you know, let me give you some of the vital statistics of where I am today. I did have the surgery in November of 2008, the vertical sleeve gastrectomy with Dr. Hoya in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I was 328 pounds when I started, and my lowest weight was 172 pounds. I'm not 172 pounds today. I'm very far from it. Sad to say, actually, that I have gained a good bit of weight. I'm at 213 pounds as of this morning, which that's still a great weight, and most people still consider me to be in a very kind of ideal frame for who I am. You know, at 170 pounds, I had a lot of people who were telling me that I looked sick, and you know, it wasn't great, and I certainly didn't try to do that. You know, the goal was just to get healthy and be healthy. So I will say, over the last 8 months, I have gone probably from 185 pounds to 215 pounds because of the fact that in March my wife and I had a baby, and I kind of let my eating habits go, and I also stopped a regular regimen of exercise. So those factors have brought me where I am today, which is basically to come back to you all and be accountable again for who I am. I had reached a point in my exercise routine where I felt just as good as any day that I'd ever been alive. I could swim miles, I could jog miles. I even had a half marathon on the books scheduled to go do. I didn't go do it. And, you know, now I'm kind of kicking myself that I ever got out of the mode. Although, I will say that I hope this new initiative for me will be a happy middle point. Because I don't want to be a beast about working out. I just want it to be something that I'm able to accomplish, able to keep up with, and not fixate over it, and not make it just a huge inconvenience in my life. You know, it's certainly something that I realize that if I want to maintain a fit person, that I'll have to do every day or every few days, or just keep track of it. I do still have a monster living inside me. There's no doubt that the surgery did not cure my addictive personality when it comes to food. My weakness is sweets, cookies, ice cream, things like that, and those still creep into my life. Popcorn with lots of butter and salt are still right there at the top of my list of things that I really enjoy. I eat when I'm not hungry. I eat because I like the taste of food, so those things still apply, and more so now than initially after the surgery. So if you're thinking that your craving for hunger will go away, that your stomach never stretches out, that's a load of BS, okay? I'm just going to be straight with you. You take advantage of the first 6 months you're on the surgery, you've had the surgery, and that's the time you learn new habits. You learn how to adjust with eating different things. I don't care who you are. If you come from an addictive personality and pizza was your weakness or sweets was your weakness before, after the surgery, it's going to come back. Because what you're going to eventually do is try things. You're going to try to see if it makes you sick. You're going to try to see how much. You're going to force yourself to kind of push the limits and see what you're capable of. And that's exactly what I had done. You know, it started off that Brooke and I would share an entree at a Mexican restaurant, and then after a while we ended up ordering separately, and we would eat more. Individually we would eat more, and then we would let ourselves hit the chip bowl as it came out, and we would eat a few chips, and then we would share a meal, and then the next time we went we would eat a few more chips, and then eventually it has gotten to where if I want to, I can eat the chips, eat the meal, and have a dessert. If I pace myself, I certainly have no problems doing that. I still have a good bit of restriction. I can't eat a cheeseburger with a bun and fries and have dessert, although if you give me an hour and a half, I can get it all down. It just takes me longer to get through it. And that's sad that I know that, but you know, I'm just being real. I'm being straightforward with anybody who's watching this video thinking I'm going to go have surgery and it's going to solve all my problems for the rest of my life. Do I regret ever having the surgery? No. Would I do it over again? In a heartbeat. If it ever gets out of control to where I'm overweight again, I'll go do it again. I will not be heavy again in my life. And hopefully my recommitment now, the baby is 9 months old, so I've really had a 9-month break from my diet where I haven't really been paying attention that much to what I've been eating. And a lot of that is fatigue. Our baby hasn't been on a great schedule at night, so sleeping has been not something we do regularly, so it's been tough just having the baby, getting regular rest. When I get home from work, there's a lot of attention that I have to give to be able to keep up, and it's stressful. So that has taken a toll both on me and Brooke. For those of you who have followed me in the past know that Brooke also had the surgery. She gained a considerable amount of weight with the baby during the pregnancy. She pretty much checked out of the diet, gave into the cravings that the pregnancy hormones produced, and so on and so forth, and she gave herself a pass while she was pregnant and ended up gaining a good bit of weight. I don't remember what her weight was when she delivered, but right now she's fighting to get back to where she was prior to getting pregnant. I think she was in the 160s or 170 range prior to getting pregnant, and she's at 203 pounds today. So she still has 40 pounds that she wants to lose after having the baby, and it's hard work. It's much harder now, certainly, than right after the surgery, because now if I overeat, there's a kind of a gradual scale when I know I'm coming up to that point of uncomfortable, and I can pace myself to just hold it there, and I can keep going. Before the surgery, that point of uncomfortableness came early, and you could stop. Now it's not really an issue. I can keep going. I can eat whatever I need to eat. There's nothing out there that makes me ill. Definitely one of my crutches that I fall on way too many times is the caramel frappuccino from Starbucks, and I have no problems putting away the biggest one they can make. So early in the surgery, that's something that a very small drink like that would fill me up quickly and hold me. I used to use that kind of as a meal when I first discovered that I could do that, and I could drink like a single frappuccino and it would last me all day without me being hungry again. And the caffeine rush, I would add a shot of espresso to it. So caffeine is still my friend. It was before surgery. There was a long time after surgery I didn't use caffeine at all, or didn't have caffeine in any of my drinks. Soda is not a problem. I drink Coke Zero regularly. I have not, however, fallen back on the wagon of regular Coca-Cola, which was a big problem for me before the surgery. So even though I've fallen off of some of the eating habits post-surgery, I haven't gone fully back to, everything's fried, everything's in mass quantities, and regular Coca-Cola many times during a day. If I'm thirsty, I still stick to drinks that really have nothing in them, either water or Coke Zero or some sort of sports drink that's zero carbs or whatever. Coffee, is something that's on my list, although still most of the time, although here recently I've been hitting some of those holiday favorites from Starbucks, pumpkin spice latte, the caramel brulee, and all that good stuff, really sweet. It's probably not good for me at all. You know, those things are packed full of calories, and again, you know, this is my attempt to get back to being accountable. You know, making these videos early on in my journey was not only helpful for you if you were considering this route for weight loss, it was helpful for me because, you know, I'm accountable to those of you who follow my story. So, where I once was down in a medium shirt, some smalls, and a size 29 waist, I'm sitting right now at a little bit of a snug 34-inch waist and large shirts. So I have come a while in the rebound side of things on the plus side, so I've got to get a handle on that. I'm fully capable. I think just a few days back in the swing of things on a regular routine will get me right back to where I fell off the wagon. And I've just got to make myself know that there are certain things that I need to stay away from. You know, the cookies, cakes, and sweets can be replaced by sugar-free puddings, jellos, and yogurt. And, you know, the breads and the fried foods just need to be gone. You know, eat a salad instead with the grilled chicken, and easy on the dressings, and, you know, exercise. I got to get back into exercise. I started today. I walked from my office to where the fitness center is, which is probably about a half a mile. And then I did an elliptical for 30 minutes and then walked back another half a mile. So just a kind of a leisurely pace. You know, again, I had the ambition that I wanted to be a runner. And I got to the point where I could jog 5-6 miles fairly consistently every day. Although I feel like the years of being overweight will probably prohibit me from ever consistently pursuing that dream. The latter part of my exercise routine, I had a lot of problems with my knees hurting a good bit. So I think that there's just been a lot of stress that's been on there. I did enjoy swimming a lot right up till my son was born a few months back, 9 months ago. And I want to get back into doing that again, because it's very good exercise and it's low impact. So I don't aspire to be someone who's just ripped up one side and down the other with muscles popping up everywhere. I felt good when I did a lot of cardiovascular exercises. You know, it made me feel comfortable about myself. So I appreciate all of you who have, you know, clicked back on here to check up on me. If you're still subscribed, I hope you still get this message that I made this video. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and send them in. I'm going to try to make sure that I, you know, frequently check the inbox here. But, you know, I hope to try to get back into making videos again, because it certainly was a benefit to me, and also for those of you who are considering going down the same path as I did. And hopefully it's good information for you. I've had a lot of people tell me that without my videos, they were very apprehensive about taking the plunge to get their surgery done. And I've had a lot of people personally who I've led to have this procedure done, some who've done very well, some who've done pretty average. So overall, there's a means to the madness, and I will hopefully be back with you on a more frequent basis. Thanks for tuning in. On my way home from work, I strapped the iPhone into the bracket and sucked it to the windshield, made this video just for you. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.